A new Prime Video series, Expats, has just premiered on the platform. Usually, I watch period dramas or lighter shows, but recently, I have been trying to watch new stuff that will be different from what I normally enjoy. I'm glad I gave Expats a chance because the first two episodes of this drama had a heartbreaking and tragic story, filled with interesting characters portrayed by talented actors. I'm also happy that Prime Video released the first two episodes simultaneously because the second one explains most of the stuff that we see in the first episode. In this video, I'll explain what happened on the show and talk about what I think of this story. I'm especially curious about David and what he did. Let's start. Episode 1. Expats revolves around three female characters whose lives are as shitty as they could be. Margaret is a mother of three, was a mother of three. One of her children, Gus, is gone. At this point in the story, we don't know what happened to the child, but we know one thing. It's haunting Margaret everywhere she goes. She lives in a city she can't work. It's obvious she moved there to accommodate her husband. She doesn't want to leave either. She's holding on to the hope that maybe her son will return someday, but she's overwhelmed with the idea of being a mother and living with tragedy. While thinking about Gus all the time, she neglects her other children even though she tries. She even has an empty apartment where she goes to feel normal. She scrubs the floor, takes a bath, and enjoys the view. Even though she lives at the peak, a tall building with the best view of the city, it seems like Margaret enjoys the solitude of that small apartment more. Her life is sad. Even though she has everything money-wise, she has nothing at the same time. Meanwhile, her other children are drifting apart from her. We tend to focus on Margaret as she's the center of the story, but her children are also suffering. Daisy is insisting on watching a TV show where people talk about losing their loved ones and not knowing where they are. Philip draws his brother hand in hand with Jesus, thinking that his brother is dead. He also recognizes his mother's denial and puts the drawing where she can see it. He's also suffering. He wants his mother to finally accept what happened and return to normal. Mercy is another miserable character. If there was a contest of who was more miserable in the story, I would choose her. She's a young woman without a family. She has friends that cannot be called friends. She pretends when she's with them. She acts like she's something she's not. She splurges on drinks when it costs her a day's salary. And yes, she's having an affair with a married man, David, who she likes to call Dirk for some weird reason, perhaps to disassociate herself from reality, from what's really going on. She likes being hit during sex, maybe thinks she deserves it. It's obvious from the start that Mercy did something bad to Margaret's family. Hillary, on the other hand, is another story. Stuck in a marriage where she doesn't accept she's losing her husband. She's more aware of what's going on around her than what's happening in her house. She realizes early on that something must have happened to her neighbor Christopher for his dog to bark that loudly and non-stop, but she doesn't see her husband's pain and that he's drifting apart. They talk about the lies David told, but we don't know what they are related to yet. Did David have anything to do with what happened to Gus? Why was Margaret angry at him? And why is Tilda Swinton staring at him? These are questions that need answers. Episode 2. This one is where we get some answers. Margaret is unhappy with the dynamic her help Essie has with the children. She thinks Essie spoils them and is closer to the children than she is. She wants to set boundaries, and her first attempt at setting one ends in disaster. She trusts Mercy enough to let Gus go with her. You could discuss whether she was right to let her son go with someone she only met twice, but it wouldn't matter. Mercy kept checking her phone during their trial meeting. She wanted validation so much that she let go of Gus's hand. We saw her doing that in the episode before. She wanted to get her friend's attention and risked her life by swimming under the boat. While asking Felina whether she should pay for the meal or ask for money for the trial run, she let go of Gus's hand. All for a friend who belittles her and doesn't believe that she would get a job. By trying to please someone whom she calls a friend, she caused something terrible to happen to the woman who helped her when no one else would. It's quite tragic, and you understand how she would get depressed because of the pain. Hillary and David are another problem. They're a couple who cannot admit they started to want different things in life. Hillary's lying to David and acts like she wants a child when she doesn't. David has a drinking problem that he hides away from his wife, but he's also alone. He tries to make small talk with his driver, Sam, but even that doesn't work out. He's looking for one more chance of reconnection before deciding to get a drink, but Sam is not his friend, never was. Everyone's quite lonely in this show, which makes it all the more heartbreaking. One thing that needs pointing out is what Mercy said about David while narrating the story. She said David told the police he was on his way home from work, but he was lying. Does she mean David was actually at a bar drinking, or did he have a hand in doing something to Gus? It's still not clear what lies were David saying that angered Margaret so much. I guess we'll find out about that in the next episodes. I'm curious to find out whether we'll see any of these characters move on. Will Margaret go back to the US, finally moving on from the loss of her child? Will Hillary and David get a divorce and move on from what their relationship used to be? Will Mercy move on from her guilt? I have a feeling this series is about learning to move on, but we'll see. These are the feelings I had about the show so far. It's going great. Excellent character study. I'm excited about the following episodes. What did you think of episodes 1 and 2? Tell me in the comments below. Don't forget to like and share this video. Subscribe to next season for more reviews. See you soon.